Shalom. Hello everyone. Welcome to our video series on learning our Catechism lessons for Class 5. Today, we shall study the lesson, Man Going Astray from the Creator. This lesson is about how sin led man away from God. God created heaven and earth and all things in it. At the end of the work of the creation, He created man in His own image and likeness. God created the first parents, Adam and Eve, male and female. He entrusted to man the supervision of all the creatures on earth. God saw everything that He created as good. God made a garden in Eden in the east after He created man. He made man live in the Garden of Eden in order to cultivate and protect it. God said to man, "You may freely eat of every tree of the garden, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat. For in the day that you eat of it, you shall die." Genesis chapter 2, verses 16 to 17. But the serpent was craftier than any other wild animal that God created. One day, the serpent approached Eve and persuaded her to eat the forbidden fruit. The serpent told Eve, "You will not die, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." Genesis chapter 3, verses 4 to 5. Believing the serpent, Eve plucked the fruit of the tree and ate it. She also gave the fruit to Adam. As soon as they ate, their eyes were opened. They knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together, making loin clothes to wear. Adam and Eve hid themselves from the presence of God among the trees. The first parents committed sin by disobeying the command of God. God sent them out of the Garden of Eden. The first parents believed in the serpent, the symbol of evil, more than God. Therefore, man was alienated from God through sin. The foundation of the first sin is avarice, because the created man wanted to become one like his Creator. Sin continues. Cain and Abel were the sons of Adam and Eve. Cain was the farmer and Abel was a shepherd. Once Cain and Abel offered sacrifice to God. Cain offered a portion of his harvest, and Abel the firstlings of his flock to God. God was pleased by the offering of Abel, but was displeased by the offering of Cain. Cain was very angry and sad, so one day he led his brother Abel to the field and murdered him. God punished Cain, who killed his brother. Genesis chapter 4, verses 1 to 16. The sin of the first parents continued in the following generations too. Sin increases. God saw that the wickedness of man had increased, and that the thought and imagination of his heart had become evil. The Lord was very sorry that He created mankind. Genesis chapter 6, verse 6. Man fell into sin, went astray from God. God formed a new generation through Noah. The descendants of Noah spread all over the earth. There was only one language and one mode of speech on earth. In order to stand united and to safeguard the prestige, man started to build a city and a tower. Man, who ought to rely to God, fell deeper into sin. God scattered them in the face of the earth and confused their language. Therefore, the place where the tower stood was called Babel. The meaning of the word Babel is confusion. The basis of each sin is the greed of the creature to be like the Creator. But God does not completely reject man who has gone astray from Him because of sin. The love and revelation of God continued through the selection of Abraham. Let us pray. O Lord, have mercy on me according to your steadfast love. Make me holy, O my Lord. Forgive my iniquities in your benevolence. O Lord, make me worthy of your blessings and forgiveness of sins. Wipe away from me all evil thoughts and decisions of the mind. O Lord, save me from the deceits of Satan. Prayer of the third hour. Let us memorize. Keep my commandments and live. Proverbs chapter 7, verses 2. Life witness. We inflict pain on the good God when we commit sin. We cause grief to the soul which God has deposited in us. Let us keep aloof from sin and live as good children who are pleasing to God. Let us sing. Here are some activities for you. It is time for Eva's quiz. Do you know what is the Syriac word for sin? The answer is Hitho. Today's insight. Our first parents lost the grace of God due to their sins. Similarly, we too lose our grace that we have received from baptism when we also sin. Thus, we must make sure that if I commit a serious sin, I must go for a confession as soon as possible so that with my confession of my sin, I may ask sorry to Jesus Christ. Stay tuned for more upcoming lessons and to learn further. So for worksheets of this class, click on the description below or scan the QR code. Well, I bet you need your parents to help you out in this one. Reach out to them. Shalom! Bye! See you in the next class.